Hello, everybody. This is Benny.
And this is Valerie.
Welcome to Wholehearted Living. We last week did something special. If you're a regular listener and you got to see and or listen to my mom, we actually did an interview.
We interviewed Mom.
Yeah.
And this week we are interviewing our dad, and we talk about ways that they live wholeheartedly in their 80s. But we never really said, how do you live wholeheartedly?
Exactly. So we're doing a little different intro today, and we're going to end up going right into our normal intro for those of you that already know. But we really want you to know that the whole point of having Mom and Dad on is so that you can see that at 80 plus years old, they're living wholeheartedly. And so hopefully you can take some things from them. Besides the fact that you can take some things from them, it's just fun. If you didn't get to hear my mom's last week, it was really good. Really encourage you to go back and listen to it. And today our dad's is different too, by the way. They don't say the same things, nor do we ask the same things. So we really encourage you to check it out.
Yeah, listen in and let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know what you think. Enjoy.
Bye.
Ciao.
Oh, yeah.
Happy.
I don't know what Peter did, but I was thinking, oh, there we go. Clap, clap.
Clap, clap.
We're snappy. Snap, snap, snap.
Yeah, I don't know what we're talking about.
If you're happy and
hey,
you know
folks, thank you so very much for joining us. This is Wholehearted Living with Benny.
And
and who?
And Valerie.
And Valerie. Now you get to say that second part.
This is a podcast where the siblings, me and Benny, chat. One of us brings in a topic and the other person does not know about it, and we are surprised with what the other person will say. But today we already have our topic lined up and we know what's happening.
Yes.
We have my dad on. If you listened to last week, we had Mom on. And this is actually, Dad is joining us on our 1 year anniversary.
Woo! 1 year!
1 year of podcast.
Thank you to all of us, all of us, hello, who have listened to the 52 podcasts. Yeah, we could cheers. The 52 podcasts that we've had. So we're grateful for all of you listeners, and we appreciate you. We do have an Instagram page at Wholehearted Living Podcast, so we appreciate you guys following us.
And you know what's so funny, though?
I think Conan O'Brien's funny.
No, you do this all the time. You say things like that, and it begins to not be funny when you do that.
Do you know that he has do you know that he has 160 IQ?
No, but
okay.
Thank you.
No, but I was going to say is I don't share much on that Wholehearted Living podcast. And so
why?
Because hello, it's ours and you don't show anything. So
I did once,
but I forget. So I need to, I'm so sorry. I need to remind
people
be really
when our
good
podcasts
are
on there. Yeah.
And the post. Yeah. So
a Wholehearted Living.
So follow us
thanks.
and then I'll be more inclined to share.
Yeah. But we really would appreciate it if you follow and if you let us know any subjects that you guys would like to talk about. Hey, so 4th of July just passed. How was your 4th of July?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So we started out with a really good workout. And then we came home and relaxed and did whatever. And I made some hot wings. And then we took them to Kelly's. And we sat outside at her pool all day long. End of story.
Wow, that was a great story.
It was
no, but you know what I do? I will say in terms of wholehearted living is not giving up working out even on a holiday. That's a big deal.
Absolutely. Start your day right. Yeah, absolutely.
Discipline.
No, and right. No, we did it.
Does that mean eating 2 hot dogs?
No.
I didn't eat any hot dogs. Oh, you ate 2 hot dogs?
Yeah.
You eat 2 hot dogs and a hamburger.
That's true. But I started out with 2 hot dogs.
No, we had. No,
you were exercising. I did 2 hot dogs.
While you were eating 2 hot dogs. No, I exercised early in the morning, Dad, 6 a.m. So if you were eating hot dogs at 6 a.m. No, we both went and worked out. But no, she's got this beautiful pool in San Pedro, and it's like overlooking the whole. You can see the ocean and everything. So you're sitting at the pool, and then basically the fence, if you will, is all glass. So it's almost like an infinity pool because you just see land and then the ocean,
right?
And it's just beautiful. The only bummer about up there is it often gets a little windy, but
and if you're wet, that's cold.
Yeah. But just a relaxing day, and then all 3 of my kids went. Kylie went Kylie went with us, Dustin and Bea went, and then Coley and her family went. So it was nice having everybody there. And then everybody went home, and we just went home and showered and relaxed and didn't watch fireworks and watched,
go to bed.
We watched that tattoo show.
Well, Stephanie,
Inked. Yes,
we
yes.
went to Stephanie's house, which she has an annual thing where they close the block down and stuff, and so that was very nice. Patty and I have been dealing with a little bit of sickness, so we didn't stay as long as we might normally have. But okay, I have to tell you one thing. This is a goal I have now.
Oh, I like goals.
Yeah. So if you have been listening, you know that I work out regularly, but I shouldn't say I recently took up swimming. I guess it's been about a year. Iggy. Oh, by the way, Iggy is our sound guy.
Hi,
Thank you so much, Iggy.
Here, Iggy, do this.
He's not on the mic. Oh, there you go, Iggy. You could talk now.
Hello.
Hello. But Iggy, it's been about a year that I've been, it's been about a year, right? It's been about a year that I've been swimming. And Maria, our cousin, who I always call my niece because she's significantly younger than us.
Yeah.
But anyway, her son.
Oh, he's awesome.
He's 16 or 17 now. And he is, but anyway, he is a swimmer. And so he was telling me about something. And one of my biggest goals since I started swimming, I don't like just doing things for the sake of doing it. I mean, working out, yes, because for me, that's just a good thing. What it really, that's just a good thing. But swimming, it's kind of like, wow, what's the point? And my back has been hurting, so swimming is low impact, and so it works and so on. But Joaquin, he swims in the ocean. He's a lifeguard, does all this stuff. And so he told me about this thing. And so tomorrow, day after tomorrow, I am planning on going to Hermosa, and I'm planning on swimming near, like, at least like from pier, like maybe halfway.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah. Well, so
That's the only reason I never wanted to do a triathlon, because I love running.
That's
I love
what
biking,
said.
but swimming in the ocean freaks me out.
Well, it kind of, don't talk about it.
It freaks you out. No.
I know, but but the thing is that I'm looking forward to it. It was really funny though, because he goes, "Do you have a wetsuit?" And I go, "No." And he's like, "Well, you can use mine." Do you know what Joaquin looks like? And I was like, I looked at him and I go, "Dude, really?" And he goes, "If you don't know,
Joaquin is very svelte.
He's a swimmer's body, okay, and a 16-year-old swimmer's body.
No fat.
He's a swimmer's 16-year-old body, and and no fat, and quite frankly, not enough muscle yet because he's 16 years old.
Yeah.
And then there's me. And so I'm like,
He's got a dad bod.
Yeah, I've got a dad bod. I mean, I'm actually very strong under all the fat. And so but he goes, no. The way wetsuits work is about height. And then they just stretch.
They stretch
They
to
just stretch
you.
to
Nice.
whatever it is. So he goes, I have one, you can use it. And I said, well, dude, what happens if I'm in the middle and I can't go anymore? And he goes, no, I'm going to be on a board with you next to you.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
So I'm planning on doing it. It's like, he didn't know. So I have to contact him, but it's going to be between 6 and 8 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
In Hermosa.
Oh, maybe I can go at 6.
Yeah, you could.
8, not so
see,
much.
look at my sister's going to go. My wife was like, oh, you're on drugs. You think I'm going to go.
I'm up at 4:30, so I can go.
Yeah,
But,
so I'm thinking
back
I'm going
in
to do
time
it
for
because first I thought, why do I need a wetsuit? And he goes, if you
It's
swam in the ocean, and I'm
cold,
like,
yeah.
I go, well, I swim in the ocean, I ride the waves and do all that stuff, but I mean, it not like I do it regularly. And he goes, riding the waves and swimming are two totally different things. I was like, all right, well, I'll trust you.
Well, the funny thing is I said the only reason I've never done a triathlon is because I don't want to swim in the ocean, but I also don't know how to swim. So whether I swim in a pool or the ocean, maybe Joaquin can teach me to swim.
Where's the water? Can spit it out.
You know how to swim. You don't mean you don't know how. You just haven't practiced.
I think I really could swim if I had to swim, but
Right.
I got so terrified. You have to know the story where I almost drowned in the ocean. And the lifeguard, I went with the Hartleys to the beach, and we were out far, and then the riptide kept taking us. And evidently, as much as I was trying to get back in, I couldn't.
You don't.
And
You're supposed to go to the side.
I don't know that. I'm a kid. I'm like, what was I, 14 or something? 12? I don't know. Anyway, Mike Hartley tried to get out. He was having a hard time. So the
Big Mike or
lifeguard,
Little Mike?
Big Mike. And then the lifeguard came out and got me. And ever since then, I never got back into like trying to swim.
I thought it was because of your hair. I seriously thought you never wanted to go in the water because of your hair.
No.
Hey, Ben, she took after Mom.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. No. She never would have done
Well,
that.
I don't necessarily like to get my hair wet, but that's why I don't swim. I'm terrified to go, and I feel like I'll start struggling like I did out there.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, you need to. I have a buddy pass, so you can go with me to 24-hour fitness.
Is my hair going to get wet?
See? I'm
just kidding. I'm kidding.
No,
I'm kidding.
but the thing is that for me, I will say I knew how to swim. I actually remember going to swim lessons at the plunge at Torrance. And I remember doing all that. I remember having to take a pair of pants one time that were going to get wet, which I thought was like, oh my gosh, is this really true? And we jumped in, had to take off our pants and then create a life vest. Do you remember doing this?
I don't remember doing that. I remember taking swim lessons, but I did it at Alondra Park.
Oh, maybe it was Alondra. You're right, actually. I think it was Alondra. Yeah. And we had to take off our pants and we had to tie the top so that it was closed. And then tie the pants and then you blew into the waist and then you held it. And that was your life vest.
I would be drowned already.
Yeah, I mean, I was 7 feet down the whole time I was doing that. but you had to have really good pants to keep the air in. You were blowing into that thing the whole entire time.
What if you wore shorts?
Well, it just preoccupied you while you were dying.
Oh,
so that way you weren't thinking about death. You were just thinking about your pants.
Being in labor, breathing, so you forget that you're actually having contractions.
Then he went to
Target.
Then he went to Target and got some swimsuits.
Yes,
yeah,
and then you can
exactly.
just get swimsuits. Yes.
All right, well, folks, this is our dad. If you're looking on YouTube, and so last week you got to see our mom, and so I don't know. Does Dad look like me? Do I look like Dad? Why is there such silence?
You know what's interesting? So many people all my life have told me I look like Mom. But honestly, when I saw a picture of Mom as a little kid, Stephanie looks exactly like Mom. So
Stephanie looks like Mom.
I feel like you and I look more like Dad, to be honest.
Yeah.
I might resemble Mom just because of makeup, whatever. I don't know. But sometimes actually, no, I see my shadow when I'm walking. I'm like, oh my God, this is my mom's walk. Like, so I do... But I do. I think we do look more like Dad.
Was it Mom great last week?
Yeah, Mom was great. Yeah. So Pop, here's the number one. The first question we're just going to ask you. Very simple. We're going to give you a softball. Look, my dad's brought notes. He doesn't even know the answers to the question. He doesn't even know what questions we're going to ask.
My dad has been. Our dad has been. A talk show host for KTLA for
35 years.
35 years. And so I guess he came prepared, even though you don't know what we're going to ask you.
He literally has, we don't have notes. And he has notes. I'm thinking, oh my God, he literally moved his notes. I was like, what is he going to do? So Dad, here's the thing.
So do you just want us to not ask anything?
Reference your notes, Dad. How old are you?
I'm 84.
Yes.
84 years old. Yeah. And so tell us a little bit about the life of a man that's 84 years old, and what does your day look like, a single day look like?
You're talking about from day one to...
No, today. A retired,
What's a normal retired man's life?
I generally get up, I go potty about twice a night. And that takes a while.
Mom's choking. You made her
that takes a while. And Mom says, come on in. Where are you? I'm still here, babe. I'm still here.
Okay, then after that's done.
Then I get up.
That's from 7 to
noon. I read the word. And then
the word is the Bible for anybody who's not like on the Christian realm.
Devotion, and by 7 or 8 o'clock, if I have emails or texts to send out, I'm doing generally about 2 or 3 texts.
So wait, Dad,
why
I'm
are
really
you doing
serious.
emails and texts?
Yes, that's
when you're a retired person.
Yeah.
Well, no, why?
I have classes.
Yes.
I facilitate Bible classes.
Yes.
And so I'm letting everybody know what they're supposed to be doing, etc. Or if somebody's ill or somebody's sick or their child has had some problems, I will call them to see how they're doing.
Yeah.
Or text them, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
because most retired people don't have emails or texts. So.
I'm 84.
84 years old, folks. Are you listening to this? Okay, keep going, Pop.
And then I wake up. Of course, I'm up already, and Mom and I
in your sleep, you're not emailing?
I generally read a couple of books. I always have 3 or 4 books next to me. And it could be all the way from Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, philosopher, Stoic guy, or I can read Charles Colson or C.S. Lewis.
Charles Colson was always your favorite. C.S. Lewis, huh? C.S. Lewis
Colson,
and Charles Colson.
Charles Colson. I have 21 of his books, and so I read every morning, and of course I read the Word, and I have three Bible studies. So because I facilitate that, I'm constantly taking notes, writing, and I have to send out a text about each one of them, and it gives me information about the Lord. And I send it out to the guys. And then I have breakfast. Lately, I'm taking up my daughter, Valerie.
Wait. Can I just ask you a question?
Oh, he's talking about me.
Go ahead, Neil. Go ahead.
I'm very curious to know. You just said you do all that before breakfast.
I do. I do it before breakfast. Don't I, babes?
Dad, this is not a test. No one's
no.
Don't I, babes?
No. What happens is that she will talk, and I'll tell her, what do you think about this? What do you think? I always ask her for advice, and then I've been following Val's method of eating. I've been eating every morning a couple of eggs with spinach, and if I don't eat the eggs, one day I'll eat the low-fat yogurt, or not yogurt, but cottage cheese with blueberries.
Oh my gosh, that's my breakfast right there.
Yeah, and so I mix it up. One day eggs, the next day that sort of thing. And so then
if it wasn't for the cookies, everything would be great.
That's the problem.
and the two hot dogs and hamburger.
That's the problem. Mom's a great baker, right? She makes beautiful, delicious cookies. And
Don't blame it on Mom. Costco, Ralph's.
Right. So I'll dab into that one.
Oh, Dad, I remember growing up, Mom would say, okay, I went grocery shopping, the cookie jar is back here. I don't want Dad to get it because Dad will eat, pretty much the whole cookie jar.
That's true.
And so then the next night after dinner, we were allowed to have one
Our pizza's
cookie,
here, folks. That's what you're hearing in the background. Sorry.
After dinner, we were allowed to have one cookie or 2 cookies. I don't remember. But she would pull out the cookie jar from the hidden spot, and there would be like 4 left at the bottom. Dad found the cookie jar.
What I remember sometimes is waking up and going to get a glass of water, and there was Dad.
He was tiptoeing in the kitchen.
Tiptoeing in the kitchen, and you look at us and say, don't say anything to Mom.
I remember that too.
That's true.
Oh, Iggy, are you the same?
It's so funny. True. Because he's like, don't say anything to Mom. And there he is with the tortilla and mayonnaise and cheese.
That's delicious. That's a great way to eat.
Oh, God, that was funny.
All I know is that you're 84 years old, and I don't really care what you eat.
So you open this jar, and you have half a cookie. That's Mom's cookie.
Yes.
Yeah,
of course.
Cookies.
Mom didn't eat
Peter
full.
laughs at me about that stuff too. He's like, "Really? You can't eat the whole thing?" I'm like, that was satisfying. I'm good.
Yeah.
You're right, Peter. I can't believe it.
So
it's un-American.
So you go through your breakfast, and now you're going through your day.
I'll give you an example. Like today, 11:30, I went for my bike ride for about 35, 40 minutes.
Which you don't wear a helmet for, which I really don't like.
Yeah, it's true. And then I came home, and I went back to I'm doing some work on my computer and doing some research, and then I made a couple of phone calls, and Mom went had lunch, breakfast with some friends, and the gentleman came over to our house, and we did an estimate. We got new doors for our den.
Oh, right.
And he's going to paint it, and so we talked about that. And then my mom came home, and we talked, and then you surprised us with coming over here.
Coming over.
Yeah, guys, we really planned this out 3.5 hours ago.
Hey.
But I'm very. The interview you had with Mom was beautiful.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
No, it really was good. But folks, one of the things I want you to hear, and I hope you hear this from a wholehearted living standpoint, and I don't know every listener and how old you are, but one thing I'm going to say is always living with some kind of purpose. And we've talked about this in many, many podcasts, but both of our parents at 80 plus years old continue to live with purpose. And so I never forget, Dad, when you said to me, I actually don't remember the context of our conversation, but I just remember that you were saying, I'm not going to be idle. And you haven't been, which I think has been great that you're not idle. I don't, I do get nervous. I don't know. I don't like the word nervous. I don't get nervous. I want you to be healthy. So I want you guys to be able to. I want to make sure that you're physically able to do some of the things that you guys do, because you guys really don't stop. You guys. Well,
I
never
mean,
seem
it's like
you
that.
stop.
I don't know the quote, but it's like, if you don't move it, you lose it. So the fact that you guys are just so active still, and I don't mean active as in like you're going to the gym and working out, but just honestly, like you running the Bible studies that you do, you're constantly, your mind's going, and mom too, whatever mom's
she
doing,
takes
like
2 walks a day.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are just active in general, no matter what, mentally, physically, riding your bike, whatever it is.
Well, and I love the fact that you ride your bike. I don't like the fact that at 84 years old that you're not wearing a helmet, Pop. Sorry.
Do you see how fast he rides, though? No, just kidding.
Well, that's actually the problem. Is that I'm afraid that eventually he's not going to go fast enough that he's just going to go.
A little kid on a tricycle passed me up the other day. Wow, where's he going?
There was a 70-year-old woman. There was a 70-year-old woman who walked by you.
The tricycle went by, and I said, "Where are the police when you need them?"
I'm kidding.
Oh my God! And the funniest story, real quick, and then we can go on with some questions. Was I got my job at Lincoln Elementary, which was my elementary school. Lived right.
And mine, thank you.
Well, okay, and Benny's and Stephanie's, but right down the street from our house. So Dad's doing his daily bike ride thing, and this is my first year there. This was a few years ago, and somebody goes, "There's this old man," and he's like peering over the fence or whatever, and I was like, that's weird. But you were riding by really slowly, but you were looking to see if you could see anybody. And then I walk over because obviously we don't want people looking in at the kids. I wanted to see if I could
see you.
Yes, I know. But we don't want people looking at the kids. So if there is a person at all just peering over looking at kids in the kindergarten, we go, "Oh, I'm sorry."
So, Dad, you've been reported to
the... So all of a sudden they're like, I go, "Let me go find out," and I walk over. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that's my dad."
So my dad's photo is all over Lincoln Elementary School. This man is trying.
But it goes into, if you guys listened to our podcast last week, where Mom said, we always have gone into where our kids have worked or the grandchildren have worked, and so that goes right into like Dad's like, "Oh, I know Valerie's working here at Lincoln. Let me just peer over and be a peeping Tom."
Well, I worked at 12 different stores at Starbucks for about 2 years, and my dad visited every one of the stores at one point.
And he never
another.
gave me a free cup of coffee.
But Dustin did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, Dustin was more
Dustin always
liberal with it, but I didn't do that. But well, Pop,
and when you worked for Hallmark, remember at the gallery, I went there.
Oh yeah,
at 9:00 at night because you were closing up.
It wasn't called the gallery in those days.
Yeah, she was closing up, and I was parked out center. Exactly, I was parked outside because she was closing up, and I didn't want her to be by herself. But she never knew that I was there.
Oh,
she never knew I was there.
Wow, what a trip! I knew you would come in and visit, but I didn't know you did that.
So there's a couple fun memories, Dad. I don't know if you remember this. Do you by any chance remember the time that I went out with Rob McAvoy and I didn't tell you guys about the hours?
Yep. You and I saw each other on the corner of Crenshaw and Artesia Boulevard.
Yes.
I still remember that.
You didn't tell him about the hours. What do you mean?
No, do you remember it at all?
Well, you were supposed to be home by 11, I think, or something.
Whatever time. I don't remember what time.
And you weren't home. And so I told Mom, I says, "Where is he?"
And by the way, listeners, this is way before cell phones and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And something I have to admit here is you never blame your wife for what your children do. So I was, hey, you should have taken care of this.
Right.
I'm blaming Mom because he's late. Which I learned, through the Word. I learned how to be more disciplined and be a better father and be a better listener, and not to always put blame on other people. But anyway, so I got into the car and I started driving around. We made phone calls, and nobody knew where you were at. And you were innocently out with the youth pastor. And so we're driving by on the corner of Crenshaw and Artesia.
And then right next to you.
And I'm on the right-hand side. And then on the left side, and anyway, all you can see is little head sticking over the window.
Yeah, because wait, listener, you have to know this. It was in the old VW Bug, and my friend had the lowered.
Yes, I remember it.
The lowered one where my head barely went over the window.
All I could see were these Mexican eyes looking at me.
I remember Dad looking at you, and I said to Rob, I go, "There's my dad."
And what did I do? I went,
my dad, if you can't see this, but my
story.
dad turned to me and he just pointed toward home, which we were already going in that direction. I looked at Rob, my youth pastor. He said, "Oh shit." I didn't say that. I think I said something. I said, "I think I'm in trouble."
Yeah.
What I loved about do you know what I loved about what you did that night?
Did he pull your hair?
No, honest to God, the favorite thing that you did was this. It's actually, it might make me cry, which is really weird. I got home, Rob and I got home, and Rob got out of the car, and he said to you, he said, "Mr. Gonzalez, this is my fault. I should have made him call." Mm-hmm. And you said to him, "He knows what he should have done. This is not your fault." And what it did to me was go, I'm a responsible person.
Yeah.
And I can't put it off on somebody else and say, yeah, that adult should have done it. Now, he was doing what he should have done, which I think if I was him, I would have done the same thing. It's my fault.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that you didn't take that. You didn't do that. You just walked into the house.
Because Rob McElvoy was, I think he's a year or two older than me, so maybe 6 years older than you.
He was a young person himself.
Yeah.
And you were probably 12 or 13.
And he was a mentor to me for sure.
Yeah.
He was a mentor to me for sure. But I love the fact that you didn't go, okay, I understand, thank you, and then whatever. And I actually don't remember getting a punishment from it. I actually remember the punishment was you screwed up and not telling me this. And it taught me a lot, because I all of a sudden went from kid to I'm responsible.
All you have to do is look into Mom's eyes. If you look, she's in the kitchen. I look into her eyes, and it's like, okay, that's it. He's been told. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, we had that discussion last week with Mom. I couldn't look into her eyes, so I don't think I think I was really afraid of disappointing Mom. But honestly, I mean, I think I don't want to get into the weeds in the past.
I think Mom almost what's the word? Spoke.
Influenced
Dad in saying, okay, that was enough. And I think it impacted you not having like a lot of discussion about it. Like, whoa, I disappointed. I should have been more responsible, and I'll take those steps next time.
Because it didn't just change me for that moment. Like, okay, I need to be. It really had nothing to do with being late. It changed me to realizing I'm an adult. Or I don't know if the right word is adult.
If I want to be treated like an adult, I need to act
I
more
need to take responsibility for my actions. And that was a huge lesson for me that went way beyond whether or not I was late. And what's interesting is I think not telling you was a way for me to say to you, I'm an adult. And then the way you treated me was like, I'm treating you like an adult now, and this is your responsibility. And it kind of blew my mind. I actually really wonder, what the hell were you doing just driving around?
But you know what? If you look back at it, if I had spanked you or whatever, and I've see, you're not going to be doing anything for 2 weeks or whatever, I would have treated you like a young child. You were almost... you're a young...
I don't remember how old I was, but probably 15, 16.
Yeah. And you're
all,
you're going up the stairway up to an adulthood, and now you had to start thinking like an adult, a young adult. And,
no, that was a huge lesson for me, because I think at that moment I was thinking, well, I actually always said this when I was a youth pastor. I would say to people, kids are not. Well, oftentimes we say they're either young, they're either mature, or they're immature. And what I always said is adolescents are both mature and immature, because there are times when they're ridiculously mature and you go, where did that come from? And then 2 seconds later, you're like, where did that come from? Because they're ridiculously immature. And I think for me, there was a lot of my life that was immature, but that moment was decisive. I look back, I'm 50, how old am I? 54. I'm 54 years old, and I still look back on that moment as a moment where I went, I'm responsible for my own life. So that was a huge lesson for me.
My dad,
I'll never forget it.
Can I just say something real quick?
Of course.
My dad taught me 3 things when I was, you guys heard this over and over again, but the men I talk to all the time, I talk about this. He taught me 3 things. He says, I call it PISS, pride, ignorance, and sin. He says,
that's a great acronym, Dad.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, open your Bibles. We're going to talk about PISS.
No, it's true. No, it's true. As a matter of fact, I would open it up with that, and people would, whoa, what's going on? My dad said 3 things, and he went to the ninth grade, but he had a lot of wisdom, and he died at 51, as you know. And he said, pride can get you into a lot of trouble. And as an adult, I had a lot of pride. The way I treated your mom, the ups and downs we had with your mom, had a lot to do with my pride. So the drugs and alcohol, you insert yourself with the serum of drugs, and I was constantly inserting myself with a lot of pride. Pride. So my dad says pride, ignorance.
Not drugs and alcohol.
No, not drugs and alcohol, just pride. So my dad said that gets into trouble. The ignorance is that you're ignorant of what the other person is doing, what that person is going through. Like if you're a child, somebody may be pulling your hair at work, at school or whatever, and you don't understand what they're going through, and you're trying to make a point, but you have to understand what they're going through in order to make a decision how you're going to treat them. And then the third thing he said, you know, it's sin. It's difficult to do anything in life if you're going to be, you know, you could fool people, but you can't fool God. And so I had to learn those things the hard way.
Yeah. Well, you did. There's no question when I think about, I mean, today we're not going to get into your history a whole lot, but we wanted to discuss with you some subjects that I'm hoping these are going to be interesting to our listeners, and they're certainly going to be interesting to us. So first question I have for you is this. What is your happiest memory of us? And when I refer to us, I'm referring to us 3.
Oh, the 3 of you?
Yeah.
Mom and I, we saw a picture of the backyard where we were all wrestling together in the backyard. That was so
Before
much.
You added on, probably, I'm sure, huh?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, I look at that picture and I said, did I really wrestle with the kids? And that was, I just feel your
I remember.
warmth. I feel
it's
your
like,
laughter, you're screaming, you're hollering. It was just so much fun. And then we did it in an old beat up rug in the front room.
I was just going to say that. I don't remember the backyard,
Yes.
but I remember the front.
I remember the
room.
front room
Yeah.
before the den.
Before the den,
It
yeah.
was so much to hear you guys screaming and hollering and jumping on me. It was.
I don't think I wrestled that
and
much.
then
I think
like
I
an
stood
idiot,
back and went,
then like an idiot, I got all caught up in my work and kind of forgot about a lot of this stuff that should have been more important to me.
No, but
those are
I
very, very important.
Yeah, I remember that vividly, actually.
Yeah,
which is
I
weird.
actually can totally remember those
Yeah.
days. Yeah.
So much fun.
Yeah.
Especially
and
you
then,
and
then you
Stephanie
guys,
doing that.
like Mom said earlier, and I don't want to. We've always been proud of all of you guys. You know, you guys, our grandchildren, our great grandchildren. It's just. So when you guys set up your by year Big Bear sojourn, Mom and I are so we look at each other. Where are they in Big Bear? And we look at each other and we just smile at each other and we say, "Isn't that great?"
Yeah.
For
that
the
our children are
listeners,
together.
Yeah.
For the listeners, once a year, when Patty and I moved back, we did something. Actually, it was for Patty's birthday, and then we ended up just making an annual thing. But it's been
It turned into because
4
you
or
said,
5 years in
"Hey,
the
we're
running.
gonna go to Big Bear. It's Patty's birthday. Why don't you guys come surprise her?"
Yeah.
And so we did, and then I think half of the family did, and then the following year you decided to invite everybody over 21.
Well, I think
And
I
then-
invited everybody in the beginning, but not everybody
Well,
could
no,
go.
yeah,
and
exactly.
And then it would, and so the first time it was a relatively small group, and then it moved into a larger group, and then a larger group.
And now, like everybody, this
And
year
we're not invited,
everyone's
but
going.
This
that's
year,
okay.
everybody's
No.
going.
We're happy. We're happy.
You
They're
guys
having
are
a good
not-
time.
You guys are actually uninvited, not
You're
even
right.
not
Yeah.
invited.
That's true. We're the only
matter of fact,
family
we don't give
that
you the
Hallmark
address.
has an uninvited card.
It says, "Don't save the date."
Don't
Okay.
say the
Okay.
date. That
Pop-
means
Bob, here's another question for you. This might be a loaded question. I don't know. Maybe you can answer it as quickly as you'd like or as long as you'd like. Actually, not as long as you'd like.
I
We
think
have
this is going to
minutes.
be an
Oh,
interesting
can I just say something about the
answer.
last question?
'Cause-
Sure.
One of the things I have respect for you guys, and I probably haven't told you enough, is that anytime we gave you money to go to a movie or with your friends or something, you guys always brought back the change. and put it on the kitchen table, or you put it on the dresser drawer. I always I brag about that, and hence the reason why Mom and I trusted you guys, and you guys were all driving cars by the time you were 16. Because we could trust you with the keys. All because of that.
That's interesting that you said that, Dad, because I remember, speaking of Plaza Hallmark, I remember getting my license and having to work that night and thinking Mom was going to drop me off again. And you guys are like, no, take the car. I was like, but I just got my license today. And they're like, yeah, you have your license. Go. I was like, whoa.
Tremendous trust in you guys. All of you.
Yeah.
All of you.
No, I actually appreciated the fact... I don't know if that was so much goodwill or absolute fear of not giving the change back.
No, I think that we just...
Wait a second. But that's important, mijo.
It is.
Because that's what you call reverential fear.
No,
that
it's
doesn't
true.
mean that doesn't mean you're getting clobbered over the head. It's just like when we go what you guys are talking about the Catholic Church the other day. One thing I loved about the Catholic Church is the reverence they have for the institution itself inside. I really enjoy that. I really do.
I actually agree with you, because I will say to you, I already mentioned that in Mom's podcast that I didn't get out of a whole lot out of the Catholic Church, and then I understood, and I was a pastor, and I really studied. I've read the Bible countless times, and then I remember having to go to different masses for various reasons, and all of a sudden I went, wow, the meaning and everything that's in here is crazy. Okay, Pop, before we go too far, I want to ask you this what were those first few days of fatherhood like, which would mean Valerie?
This is going to be an interesting question, because
go ahead.
I want to hear your answer, but I feel like I know the answer.
What I felt?
Yeah.
Well, we lived in Gardena, and she was a baby, and I got to tell you, Mom and I were going through some, me actually, and I was working 6 days a week, generally nights, and it just felt weird to be a father. It really felt weird to be a father, and all that responsibility. I was thinking about house insurance, buying a house, doing all kinds of stuff, and instead of just paying attention to my baby.
No, because
but we want to know what you feel like.
And that's exactly what I thought you would feel, because I don't remember, I was a day old, but when I just remember, like, visually looking back on things and how you guys described the life, that you were the provider and Mom was the obviously caretaker and the nurturer, and I just I feel like in your mind, and I know this was a huge generational thing, I feel like it's changed recently to have dads more involved in actually the birth, and then they have paternity leave now. Right. But you were like, well, now I have a kid, I need to get a house, I need to, and I think I was 6 months old when we moved into the house that you bought. Right. Mom was a stay-at-home mom, obviously, and so I feel like your answer is exactly what I thought your answer would be. Yeah. You're like, okay, now I need to step up my responsibility. I need to get us in a house. I have a family now. And that was your mindset. That's
exactly right.
Yeah.
I had life insurance. Instead of, like today, you have a relationship with your children. And all these other things are important, but they're not the most important, because your child, you only have them for the first 15 years, 16 years, and all of a sudden they're gone, basically, physically and mentally, because they get a lot of influence. Their influence is outside the world, outside the house. And so I wish, and I've told her, I wish I had spent more time with you guys when I was a kid.
But I think that was a generational thing. I think it was very much like, I even mentioned Peter's dad in the podcast before, where it was a very, like, children are to be seen and not heard.
Yeah.
And now, and you and I have talked about this in podcasts recently, where dads nowadays have paternity leave, and they're able to take time off work so they can be in there with their baby for a few weeks before they go back to work.
Mija, with my dad, when I was young, and we had people coming over to our house, my dad said, get everybody a glass of water.
Yeah.
So I would give him a glass of water, and then he says, and remember to fold your hands and wait till they drink the water and pick up the empty glasses.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Well, that is huge.
I'm not saying it happened all the time.
No.
But I'm just saying there were times when he would tell me to do that. I gave him the glasses of water, then I had to cross my arms and to wait till they finished drinking the water, and then take the glasses back.
So one thing I'm going to say to you, Dad, whether or not you remember this or not, but one thing that I didn't realize this. As a matter of fact, I kind of think it was a pain in the ass. but
I was, or you were?
Well, you'll understand in a second. But when I was growing up, one thing that I didn't realize what a big deal it was until I became a parent was you were at all my games. You didn't miss any of my games. You were at all my games. You
soccer games.
You showed up my soccer, my football, my baseball, every game that I ever played. I mean, I don't know if you missed some here and there, but you were always at all my games. And I remember that your job was very demanding. We had I don't know if you call it a joke or a saying or whatever it was.
Was Dad going to be home tonight?
Is Dad going to be home tonight?
Yeah.
Because you worked all the time, and yet it was interesting because you always showed up at my games. You would show up in a suit. You would show up maybe in the first inning or a little bit late or whatever, but you always showed up to my games. And when I became a parent, and I did not have, I would say I didn't have as pressing of a job.
It was more flexible.
It was more flexible. It was hard for me at times. I loved being at my kids, whatever they were doing, but I absolutely loved it. But there are times that you're sitting there, and even though I'm totally here, I'm trying to be totally engaged. I'm also thinking about work the entire time, and so I was always now. At the time, it was a pain in the butt to hear, "Mijo, come on, mijo, come on, mijo." do whatever.
You know what? I'll take it a step further. I know you guys were in Ecuador back when your kids were doing stuff, but when my kids, so their grandchildren, were doing soccer and everything, they were at all the games.
Yeah.
And Nicole still hears it in her head: "Run like the wind, run like the wind," at soccer games. But it's very true because Peter had to work a lot of. The Saturdays he was doing the show, and so he missed a lot of their soccer games and stuff. But I don't remember your day was 8 a.m. till sometimes
9
8 p.m.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't come home till after we were ready to go to bed.
That's right.
But you always made the games.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time, so I'm saying that because this can't be a super long answer, but I do want to hear the answer to this question. We had a bunch of questions, and so the last question that I have for you is, and this might be tough for you to answer, and if it's too tough, just let it go, Pop. It's okay. What's one thing you want to be remembered for after you're gone?
And you're 84, so you might die tomorrow. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding. Just trying to lighten the load a little bit.
Everything's planned out.
I'm kidding.
No, that's I'll be honest with you. It's a fact of life. Mom and I have talked about it. We got all of our paperwork ready to when things happen. Everything. You guys don't have to worry too much about it. And I was in the service, so we're going to have a military. Send off.
But don't get distracted.
No. Yeah.
What is the thing you want to be remembered for?
I just hope that you guys will remember me saying, with all his faults and all his double stupid jokes and his sound effects, that
Everybody has tears in their eyes.
He loved us.
Just so you know.
he loved us.
Yes.
Yes.
That's good. I have to be honest. Growing up, I didn't understand how you loved us until I became a mom and had a husband who had to provide. And in my mind, and like I just said, Peter had to work a lot of the times that the kids had games and stuff like that. But he had to provide, and he's a good father. And being a stepfather, he never asked questions about providing for the first two. And so I was like, this is love. You know what you know, and you do what you do. And growing up, I didn't understand that you always had to be out till 8 or 9 o'clock at night. But you're like, no, this matters because I want Mom to be home with you guys. So I think that I say that to my kids a lot too. Like, you don't know the love until you have your own kids and you're in those shoes, you know.
I think, Dad, I think you're going to be remembered that way. Mm-hmm. Will we always agree with every way you acted when we were kids? Probably not. But my kids don't agree with every way I acted. So what I will say is, as an adult, we can say, we know you loved us and you do love us and you show it in many ways, but we're grateful for you.
So you can go now. No, but to end on this note, you guys, you have to hear him do a helicopter.
Yes, a helicopter. Come on, Pop.
You got to do it.
Dad, okay, come on. The Formula Ones, they're starting. Come on, let's go.
They're starting. Yes,
come on, we can go.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as he continues to send us off, this is Wholehearted Living at Wholehearted Living Podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much, you guys.
Thanks, Pop.
Bye.
Ciao.